name is Kelly and welcome to my channel, Just a Teacher Thing. For those of you who are new, I am a second grade teacher in California. I have been teaching for 16 years and I've been teaching second grade for about 9 years. I think it's 9 years. So it's been a while, and I've taught 6th, 5th, 1st, and 2nd, and 2nd is definitely my favorite grade, although I do have to say I have a fondness for 5th grade. I like the older kids. Just because I like the conversations you can have with them. But the younger kids are great too, and I'm so happy to be here. So today is Monday, September 9th. It's going to be a little bit of a weird day today. My grade level has essential standards planning in the afternoon, technically starting at 11:45, which is not quite the afternoon yet. So what happens is a sub comes into my class and takes over for the remainder of the day, and then my 2 teammates and I go and plan out our trimester. We're doing math today, and then in 2 weeks we're going to do language arts. We look at the standards we're going to be teaching, we decide which ones are essential, and then we form units around those, units around those that we're going to teach, and pace that all out. So it's really productive. We did it last year. We did it we threw ourselves in, and now we've gone back. The plan was to do math last year, to look at essential standards and make units last year, and then this year do language arts. But then over the summer, more people went to the PLC conference and decided that what we really need to do is dig deeper in the standard that we already started with, or in the subject we already started with, and really look at those standards that we identified as essential and really create good units and that are going to help our students, and then look at what we're going to do if students don't get it, what we're going to do if students do get it, all that great stuff. So I'm really excited about that. My morning is going to go great. We're starting a new story, which is dogs, and the skill that we're focusing, or the standard we're focusing on in dogs right now, is asking and answering questions about informational text. And the way I do that is I give them all sticky notes. At the beginning of the year, they don't quite know what a question is yet, so I start with wonder. I wonder, and they're gonna, before we read the book, write down what they wonder about the topic of dogs. During we read the book, what they wonder about dogs, and then after. And that's probably, we're not gonna get done today because it takes a while to stop and really write down our questions and put it on our anchor chart. And then, so this will be a 2-day activity that we're doing. Then we're going to do ELD after first recess. ELD is leveled by their LPAC score, so I have the beginning and intermediate group. We're going to have a collaborative conversation about what pets need to be healthy and happy, and collaborative conversations are a lot of fun. This is only our 2nd week in ELD, so it's a lot slower than it will be once they get into the flow. But we talk about what a good listener is, what a good speaker is, how to have a conversation, and all that great stuff. And then in math, we're having an assessment on how to make 10 to add, and adding 3 add-ins. I taught them 3 different ways to make 10 to add. One, I taught them how to use counters and just move the counters around. The other way I taught them was to break the smaller number up into a number bond and then make 10 that way. And then the third way was, for the kiddos that didn't get how to break the number apart, we just drew pictures using 2 different colors. And I think most of them are good. There might be 1 or 2 that still don't get it, but that's what the assessment's for, is just to see who I need to pull and work in an intensive group with. And then after that, if there's time, depending on, because sometimes at the beginning of the year it takes a really long time to get through these short quizzes, which it's only like a 4-question quiz, but it might take a while. But after that, we're going to play number addition bump, which I got over the weekend from Teachers Pay Teachers. And what I'm trying to do is teach them a variety of games, and then at some point, hopefully this week, the plan is to do it this week, I'll be able to break the kids off. Some people doing addition facts, some people making 10, some people reviewing doubles, and then they're all working on skills that they need, and then I'll be able to pull a group. So I've got some things to do to set up before the day. This day is starting in like 10 minutes, and I will catch up with you after school. everybody. It is now the end of the day. The day went really well. I got through my language arts, although we didn't even actually get started with this story. We took a little bit longer on phonics than I had anticipated. I introduced the long A, long I spelling pattern with an A consonant E, and they just were very reluctant this morning to repeat the words after me, to blend the words, to write the words, to do all that. So it took us a while, but I think by the end, the majority of them were getting the concept and getting they needed to put an E at the end of the word, which is great because that's also our spelling this week. So hopefully they will be successful when they write their spelling words and take their test on Friday. After that, we did our asking questions. So I gave them all Post-its and I told them to write down what they wonder about dogs. I did an example. I was flipping through the book and there's a picture of a dog in a bathtub. So I said, okay, my wonder is I wonder if the dog likes a bath. So I had a couple of kids who repeated that question, which is fine, but I had some good wonders. Let me go ahead and flip you around and show you my anchor chart. So here it is. It's not pretty. I just put the standard at the top. I can ask questions about a text before reading, during reading, and after. And then they wrote their questions. There's mine. I wonder why a dog likes chewing. I wonder if a dog there's a picture of a dog and the cat in there. So just did that, ran out of space on the anchor chart, so I have some more on the board. But it is in all its glory. ELD went really well. We actually were able to write 2 sentences about what dogs need to be healthy and happy. Sorry, it's shaky. I did something different this time where before I released them to talk with their partners, I divided the room up into A's and B's. So 3 of the tables were A, 3 of the tables were B, and then we practiced the sentence stems together, having that conversation back and forth, and that went really well. By the time it was time for them to turn and talk with their partner, they really seemed to be discussing, and they didn't have to rely on their sentence frame as much anymore. They knew what was there. So I'm really glad. So that tells me that later in the year I'm going to be able to not even have to write, well, they'll have to write the sentence frame, but I won't have to give them the whole sentence. They'll be able to fill in their own things at the end, the word. Then I gave my math assessment, which it went a little rough at first because so many of the kids were insisting, I don't know how to make a 10. I'm like, yes, you do. You were here on Friday, which actually, now thinking back, it was Thursday we did it, but we did it. We've done it 3 times. I don't know how to do it. So I pointed, I'm like, draw this many, draw that many. Now, where's your 10? How many are left? Where's your ones left over? Add them. And then they got it. So I haven't graded them yet. I'm about to do that right now. After that, the sub came in. I left after the test, they started playing the addition bump, which they were having a lot of fun with when I left. So that was very successful. So I had thought this was 2 add-ins. It's actually 3, which is great because that's one of our standards and that's what we were working on. So they got more practice with that. Then I met with my team and we planned out our essential standards for the whole trimester. We really looked closely at what we wanted them to do and what was essential and what was something that they need to know, but that we don't necessarily need to teach and test, especially right now. And then we spent a lot of time looking for what we're going to do with the students who get it, and finding different games and stuff and talking about that. So it was really productive. I was glad. But now I'm going to go ahead and grade my tests, and then I will check in with you after I'm done. I'm all done with grading, and my battery looks like it's starting to die. It was at full just a second ago, but I know how quickly it goes out once it starts fading. So I'm gonna make this quick. My kids did really well. They all seemed to get the make a 10 strategy. A couple of them were unsure on how to add 3-digit numbers, but that's fine. I'm gonna pull them and review tomorrow, and it'll be great. So that's all I have today. I will see you again tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, September 10th, and I am a little bit stressed this morning. This week, I got an email from my principal over the weekend saying that we needed to give this test, the NWEA, over this week at some point, and it had to be done this week. So I have been planning on doing it on Thursday. And as I was driving to school, I realized that Thursday is picture day, and it's not a good idea to have them doing an important computer test, or iPad test really, when at any moment we could be pulled out to be told to take pictures. And I can't do it Wednesday morning because I'm not going to be here tomorrow morning. I have a doctor's appointment, and Friday I have another test that I'm supposed to give the students on our reading for this week. So today's the only day I can do it. And I told our Tosa that today that he could have somebody come in to do the Dibbles test with my students any day this week except Thursday. So now I have to track him down and tell him, haha, just kidding. You can do it any day but today. So yeah, that's kind of the state of where I am right now. So I've got a few new goodies this morning that I want to show you. The first is I finally caved and I got an electronic doorbell because my students this year are just not responding to any call and response quiet signals. They say I say it, they reply with the response, and then they keep talking or they keep moving. So I'm hoping that by having a bell sound, it will at least at the beginning catch their attention, and then we can review the procedures, and I can give rewards and consequences as need be. The second thing I got last night, it was funny because I got to my mailbox and I'm like, I don't remember ordering anything, and that's because I ordered this and it wasn't available on Prime, and so it took about 2 weeks to get here and I forgot. So I got this see if that focuses. It tells how an assignment was completed, if it was by themselves, with one-on-one, group, or as a class. And that way I can start stamping things and letting parents know how it was done. So if they get something and they're like, oh wow, look at how well my student did. It's like, yeah, but we did this as a class. And then the third thing I got was this book, Sorry, by Trudy Ludwin. I saw this on Janice at One Happy Teacher's YouTube channel, and I thought this looked like a really good idea because it drives me crazy when something happens and kids are like sorry and they don't mean it, or they're not apologizing thoroughly, and then the other student always says, oh, it's okay. And I've always kind of said, well, no, don't say it's okay, because it's not okay what they did. Tell them that you accept their apology or thank you for their apology. But I like the way this book really goes through that you can't just say something, or you can't just do something and then say sorry and not mean it and have everything be okay. You have to show that you're sorry. And then I also downloaded the resource that she showed, which is how to make meaningful apologies. This comes from Math and More in 104. It was a free resource, and it takes them through steps on how to say sorry, saying they're sorry for, why it was wrong, next time what they'll do, and then ask the question, will they forgive you? And then at the bottom it says, don't forget, a meaningful apology should be specific. So I'm probably not going to have time to introduce this today, but I should be able to do it on Friday. Friday, there's a 10-minute space between when we get in from recess, actually 15 minutes, between when we get in from recess to when we go to library. And I'm taking advantage of that time to do read-alouds, and I'll introduce this definitely by Friday, if not before. So that's kind of my day, doing the NWEA test in the morning, and then the rest of the day should be normal. Hopefully everything goes right with the NWEA test. It's kind of complicated to get them logged in, and I only vaguely remember we did it once last year. We were told we were going to do it 3 times, and then we ended up not doing it 3 times, so I only did it at the beginning of the year. So I think I remember how to do it. We will see. And that's all I have. I need to get started. I need to go find Artosa and apologize. So I will catch up with you at the end of the day. Bye. Oh, goodness. I have had quite a morning. It is now lunchtime, and giving the NWEA test was insane. So we came in the morning, and the first thing we did after we did the Pledge of Allegiance and attendance and everything is I asked the students to take out the reading logs, and like half the kids just didn't do their reading logs. And that was because I was out yesterday, and I guess the sub didn't like stress that, yeah, you need to do your reading logs. That's why it's on the homework paper. So I'm telling kids, well, you'll do it later. You'll do it at recess because we're doing something else this morning. And so we get all our iPads. I walk them through step by step about what they need to do, how to get into the app, how to log into the session name, how to log into the password, what test to pick. And there's like all these different tests. So I was like, we're going to do the first one. The first one is math. So we're going to do math. If you need to use your whiteboards, you can use your whiteboards. If you want to get a piece of paper to do the work on, you can do that. But that's what we're going to do. So select math, and then they hit log in, and then I have to go in on the computer and hit confirm or something. So I have to do something. Well, all of a sudden, like 5 or 6 kids are like, I got kicked out. So I go over and I try to log them back in, and it won't work. And I vaguely remember this happening last year, that once they log in, if it kicks them out, you have to do something. And so I have like, one of the girls starts crying, which is exactly what I would have done when I was her age, is just been in tears. I did do that at various points over computer issues. So I get them all. I was like, do Epic. So they're all reading on Epic. Everybody else is doing the test. I'm walking around, and then I notice, or one kid finishes, and I walk over and I'm like, why, what does it say? And I realize he took the wrong test. He took reading, but that's no problem because we're going to do reading. I was hoping to do it today, which did not happen. So I'm like, it's okay. We'll just flip-flop hits. And then I'm still walking around, and I noticed one of the kids, everything's in Spanish. Well, she selected the Spanish test instead of the English test. So I suspended her test, and it took the entire 2 hours for some kids, or hour and a half for some kids to finish that test. And I even had to keep one in at recess briefly it was only like 5 or 10 minutes to finish the last few questions, because if you leave it too long, it kicks you out. If you pause it, it won't let you back. It's yeah. So then I start thinking, okay, well, we have ELD next, so I'm not going to have my kids. And then we have math, and that's only an hour, so that's not enough time to administer the reading test. Same thing after lunch, it's only an hour. It's only hour chunks. I don't have enough time to give the second test today. I can't do it tomorrow. I'm not in class. I don't want to do it Thursday because of picture day and Friday. So I'm like, maybe I can swap my reading test for doing the swap date, so doing it on Thursday. And I'm like, but that gives me one less day with the story, and I'm just freaking out. So I go to the principal, and I'm like, this is what's going on, and I'm freaking out, and I'm so stressed. And she's like, oh, it's fine. I don't want you stressed out about this. This is not something to be stressed about. And then she said, but I just got a text from another school, and it said that we don't have to do the math section. We're only doing the reading section. Did not help my stress levels. But anyway, the long and short of it is, she said, if I can't give it this week, I can give it next week. That's fine. So feeling a little better, but now I have to, at least now, because we didn't get the email that we needed to do this until after my lesson plans were done. So now I can write it into my plans and, move things around accordingly, instead of throwing it on a day that I didn't have it planned and having to do things on the fly. But yeah, it's just, ugh. And then during ELD, I introduced the doorbell, and it's not loud enough, and I don't know how to make it louder. I did move it. It was over on the other side of the room behind some stuff. I thought, well, maybe it's blocking the sound. So I put it on the power strip under my desk, but it's still pretty quiet. However, it does work better than call and response. They're stopping. I'm like, you stop talking, you stop moving, you look at me. And so it's going a lot better. And we're just reviewing those routines. And then we did subtraction. And because we only have one day for subtraction, it's like, look, this is how you subtract. You draw 14 dots and you take away 7. And some of the kids knew their doubles facts. And then I was like, just so you know, you can also, if you have 14 minus 6, well, how many do we need to take away from 14 to make it a 10 fact? And I showed them how you need 4 because it has the 4 there. So we're going to split 4 into 4 plus 2, or we're going to split 6 into 4 plus 2, and then this becomes your 10. So I showed them that, and some of them got it right away after like 4 or 5 examples. And some of the kids are like, some of the kids are struggling, insisting they need help with the dots. And I'm like, no, you don't need help. What you need to do is take out your whiteboard and draw 14 dots. And they're like, but I don't know how to do it. I'm like, you know how to draw 14 dots. Take out your whiteboard and do it. But everybody completed what they could to the best of their abilities, and we got through math. And now we're going to have to do language arts, which we didn't do this morning. And I'm going to try and calm down and talk more slowly because I feel like I'm on a runaway train right now. So it's been a stressful morning, but it's fine. It is what it is. I'm flexible. I can do this. And I don't know. I'll try to catch up with you after school, but I do have a staff meeting and I have some stuff I need to get done. So we'll see if I have a chance. So if not, then I'll pick you up tomorrow. Bye. Hey everybody, it is now Wednesday and it's the afternoon. It's just almost 12, so it's not quite the afternoon yet, but I'm feeling a little frustrated and overwhelmed right now just because my substitute canceled this morning. So instead of having a sub and having them do my lessons that I needed because I'm already so far behind and I needed them to do them so we could at least be caught up where a manageable place, my class got split and farmed out to other teachers. So we split them up into groups of 4 and 5. We send them to other teachers and they do lesson packets, it's basically just busy work. It's all review, but most of the time I don't get most of them back. I did collect them when they came in this time. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. They're not completed, which I wouldn't have expected. It's a whole day's worth of busy work, and they only had 3 hours, I think it was. But I don't know if I should save them for the next time I'm absent so they can finish them, or I don't know what to do. But so now I'm even further behind in language arts, and we're supposed to test this story on Friday. So I think what I'm thinking is I'm going to teach today, tomorrow, and Monday. Tuesday I'll do the formal assessment on this story. I'll double up language arts when I can to keep up with the vocabulary, but phonics and grammar, which is going to put me I'm so far behind in social studies. It's not even funny. And then I'll test on Tuesday. I'll do the NWEA on Wednesday, and then Thursday I'll do the next story, Thursday and Friday. And then I think the story after that is one that we test again. So we've been talking about doing stories that we test on for 2 weeks. So we'll discuss that when we have our collaboration time today. But it's just a mess. And I'm so I barely got the doctor's appointment that I needed to get anyway, because I was supposed to I was out a couple of weeks ago. I was supposed to follow up with my doctor in 2 weeks. And when I called, they're like, oh, well, there's no appointments. And then they went and talked to the medical assistant, and then they came back and they're like, oh, well, there's this, September 11th at 9 a.m. and that's it. And it was like, I need to take care of my health, but it's very frustrating. So we are doing math when we come back, because we have a math assessment tomorrow, and we're going over what the assessment looks like today, reviewing those skills the last time, and they can see what the format is. And then if we finish that early, then I'm going to do grammar, because I have not gotten to grammar once this week with everything going on. And like I said, we're testing it and everything. So we won't do writing today. I doubt we'll get out to PE, which sucks, but we'll do Go Noodle to kind of supplement that. And yeah, so I'm gonna see what I can do to salvage this. I already started my lesson plans for this week, but now I need to go back and fix them. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. I'm gotta put my, be positive and just know that it's not a disaster. It's just what it is, and it'll be fine. So yeah. All right, so I will catch up with you probably after school. Bye. Good morning, everybody. So it is now Friday the 13th. Ooh. I didn't have a chance to pick up my camera yesterday. I got into the class yesterday morning and I just left the room a disaster, especially my desk area. So I was busy cleaning and putting everything back in order. And then after school, I was making copies, and I make my copies for the next week on Thursdays after I finish my lesson plans. And then then I was working and another teacher was running in and out of my room asking questions. So it was just, there's no good time to pick up my camera. So it is now Friday. It's going to be an action-packed Friday. In the morning, it's all regular schedule. We're still working on the story dogs in ELA. We are working hard on the, for phonics, the sounds that C makes, the two different sounds, and that does get tested next week, so I want to make sure that they really understand the rule. And then math, we are starting a new standard. We were working on add and subtract use mental strategies to add and subtract within 20. Now we are doing word problems within 20 still, but they need to be able to solve them with word problems. So we're getting into that today. I did the test on the other standard yesterday, and my class did an amazing job. Everyone passed. One student didn't quite pass, but I was looking at his work and I could tell that he understood. He just has a hard time concentrating, and he got tired and just kind of finished it without really thinking. So during intervention, I got everybody else playing a game and I pulled them back, and again, there was a couple of times where he was like, I'm too tired to do this, I don't want to, and I really encouraged him and made sure he was drawing neatly his dots for the addition and subtraction problems and really thinking about it, and then he was able to score 100%. So I knew he could do that. I was very proud of him, and I let him know that. So we're starting the new standard today, and then we go to lunch, and then after lunch is when it's not instruction stops, but it's on Fridays. There's not a lot of instruction time left. We come in, we have 15 minutes between lunch, and then we go to library after lunch, and then we go to library. So I'm going to read them the sorry book and talk about how to make an apology. And then we go to library, we get our books, then we go to recess, then we come back and we have a half an hour. And then it's Fun Friday, which is an extended activity time for the whole school. So in that half hour, I'm going to have my star student of the week go through their poster and explain all the different parts of them. Hopefully my student we have what's called a class pet, and it's a class pet because it is a stuffed animal. It is a fox. And it goes home with the student on Friday. It stays with them. It's supposed to be through Thursday, but she didn't bring it back yesterday. And then they have a journal, and they write and draw in the journal everything they do with the stuffed fox, whose name is Nick. And then she's gonna share what she did, some of their adventures. So hopefully she brings it back, fingers crossed. I did not come up with this idea. I found it through Pinterest, and it was a free resource, so I downloaded it. I will try to remember to look that up so I can link that in the description, because it really is well, hopefully it's gonna be great. It's gotten kind of a rough start. Like I said, it's supposed to go home through the whole week, but my first student brought it back, and I said, okay, you can take it out to recess as long as it has a bag that we keep it in. Like, you have to keep Nick in the bag to keep him safe. And I went to pick the students up from recess, and the student had Nick and was throwing him up in the air and letting him land on the dirty ground. And I was like, all right, so you've lost the privilege right now. Maybe we can try later in the year. And I took Nick away, and that was the first time. So now hopefully the second student will remember to bring Nick back so we can continue this on. I hope this works. It seems like it's going to be a great activity. But that is my day, so I will catch up with you after school. All right, and it is now after school on Friday, so that is a wrap on the week. It was a much rougher afternoon than I anticipated. We did the read aloud of sorry, and I started the discussion on how to make sincere apologies, and then it was time for library, so we went over to library, and I had an asthma attack. I haven't had an asthma attack, like a real asthma attack as bad as this was, in 2-3 years. I've been carrying around an inhaler, a very old inhaler with me, but last school year, I took it out of my bag to take it in my purse to take it somewhere else, and I never put it back. And I was just taken completely off guard. Luckily, somebody else had an inhaler. The district nurse happened to be on campus, so he said, use the inhaler, go into the the cafeteria where it's cool, and get some cool air on you, drink water. And I was able to calm down, but like my chest is aching, my back hurts, because when I get an asthma attack, I cough really hard. So yeah, it's very hot here for our area, and it just kind of took me by surprise. So I was planning on staying after school and setting the classroom to rights and doing some test prep and all that, but I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna kick back and I'm gonna have a great weekend. So thank you all so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe. Hit the little notification bell so you are notified when I upload, and have a wonderful day.